Welcome back to the show. I'm not David S. Pumpkins. Today's program will remind all you kids out there, be careful what you wish for. If you want a loyal best buddy or a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, be my guest. Or rather, be their victim. In one corner, we have Chucky, the torturous toy trickster, and his opponent, the limmericking, limestone-laden leprechaun.
You may feel some pain. 'Tis a pity I forgot me Novocaine.
These two have transcended the confines of the horror movie genre and have permanently cemented themselves in both the pop culture lexicon and our nightmares. Heck, you can even catch them on every football Saturday and Sunday. Sports are the ultimate escape, but there is no running from these tiny Tinseltown terrors. Here's how we'll determine a winner. Round 1, box office. Round 2, Tomatometer/Audience Score. Round 3, creation story. And then I'll do a wild card round that's going to prove this is the ultimate duel of diminutive devils. On the line, a fresh pot of gold against the Toys R Us shopping spree. Even though I'm fairly certain Jeffrey the Giraffe stores are closed. And that gold, let's face it, it's probably just foil encasing for subpar milk chocolate. Hey, I ain't complaining. Chucky's got his game face ready. The Leprechaun wore his best river dancing boots, so let's get it on.
It's showtime.
You won't beat me, because I'm a leprechaun.
Round 1, box office. In past episodes of Versus, when we talk box office, it's usually boffo. Billions of dollars are tossed around with regularity, and while I don't get to keep any of it, it's no secret why some other franchises have remained so popular. Money talks, but for Child's Play and Leprechaun movies, let's not start looking at winter homes in Florida just yet.
Shit!
To date, only the first 2 of the 8 Leprechaun films have been given a proper theatrical release. Remember when he danced an Irish jig on the moon or sang about the multiple definitions of booty and Leprechaun in the Hood? Yet we enjoyed those on home video. The franchise has just grossed $24 million in domestic coin, making for an average of $12 million per outing. But even if we give the Little Leper, that doesn't sound healthy, a wide release for all 8 films, chances are he still can't play with the Chuckster.
I want respect!
Child's Play came out in the 80s, the decade before sentient toys became our cuddliest Pixar pals, and sliced its way to an impressive $78 million domestic haul. Sequels and more profit would follow until The Curse of Chucky, and then The Cult of Chucky decided to head directly to Video Update. That was the Williamsburg, Virginia version of Blockbuster. I still owe them late fees.
I can't think of a thing to say.
All told, 6 of the 8 Child's Play flicks sold tickets at movie theaters, and they combined for a $286 million franchise tag. That makes for a $47.6 billion per flick average. Somehow that still surpasses the gross of the recent reboot featuring Mark Hamill as the voice of Chucky, which finished its run at $29 million. Leprechaun can compete with that number, but given the Chuckster's head start in the horror heyday of the 1980s and his consistent presence in theaters, it's an easy round 1 victory. So easy you might say it's Child's Play?
What?
You're right. I deserve to have a green goblin curse me forevermore for making that dad joke.
Don't fuck with the Chuck.
Round 2, Tomatometer/Audience Score. Okay, Leprechaun, it's your lucky day because now that we're done with the finances, let's talk about your pot of gold.
Have I mentioned that I want me gold?
Specifically, how did critics feel about your extreme methods in protecting said treasure? Oh, it's not good. Here's the bright spot. The underappreciated Leprechaun in the Hood is at 30%. And Leprechaun Returns, the most recent entry in the franchise, has the highest percentage of all his movies at 44%. We're trending upward, which is my sugar-coated way of saying, here's the bad news. 3 of the Leprechaun flicks are at 0%.
0.0.
The one that started it all and introduced us to Jennifer Aniston pre-Rachel cut is just at 23%. So this all makes for an average film score of 16.6%. But hey, these are horror movies. They never sit well with the critics, said the person who doesn't have a teleprompter in front of them. I know, because Child's Play movies do pretty darn well. Half of the films in the franchise, get this, are fresh. That's 4 movies about a murderous doll that critics said, yep, that's cinema.
What are you looking at?
71% is the score for the original flick that started it all. Then Curse of Chucky broke the curse of direct-to-red box and earned a 76%. Cult of Chucky then set the all-time high at 79%. The most recent reboot is also fresh at 63%, so it's been a nice turnaround for Chuck. His lowest movie is Child's Play 3 at 29%, but overall, he's still on the outskirts of Freshtown with a 55% average for 8 movies. This doll can kill you with a knife, or the kind words movie reviewers have given him over the years.
You fucking with me?
Okay, but that audience score has got to favor the Leprechaun, right? I mean, he was referenced in Wayne's World.
Garth, I'm the Leprechaun!
Cool it, okay.
Unfortunately, it appears most of the audience sided with Garth. Leprechaun does better in this frame, but his 30% average is still dwarfed by, sorry about that, Chucky's 53% average. And the closest the Irish troll gets to fresh is a respectable 48% for Leprechaun Returns, which, if you're keeping score at home, is 2% higher than Constantine starring Keanu Reeves. Sorry, Jacqueline Coley. Maybe Rotten Tomatoes is wrong? Enjoy our podcast wherever you listen to stuff.
Fine! All right already.
Child's Play takes round 2, and it appears the Leprechaun has just about reached the end of his rainbow.
I am Chucky, the killer dog, and I dig it!
Round 3, Creation Story. The Fightin' Irish football team has been mythologically great at late-game comebacks. And if Leprechaun wants to prove he's the next Joe Montana, it'll take one convincing tall tale. I said tall. My bad.
About 3'6".
3'6"?
Yeah, but I make up for it in other areas.
Creator Mark Davis wanted to make a horror movie. You know what inspired him? Yep. Lucky Charms. He saw an ad for the cereal, which I ate not 2 hours ago, and the rest is cinematic history.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms.
So while the actual genesis of the movie franchise itself is giggle-worthy, the lore of the Leprechaun is dead serious. Each movie spins a slightly different version of the tale. Our villain can be anywhere from 600 to 2,000 years old. Originally, he got his pot of gold stolen, chased it across the Atlantic to North Dakota, where he got boxed in for 10 years before escaping in go-karts.
Ring around the rosy.
Since then, his mission has varied from revenge, like in Back to the Hood, to finding a bride, as seen in Part 2. He went to Los Angeles to achieve the bride goal. Good luck, pal. The line starts right behind me.
Something new, something old. Let's be together on Leprechaun's Gold.
Based on the lore and origins, he may actually be a god, or at least a being with supernatural powers, ones that keep him in statue form until a medallion is removed from the adorable lawn ornament exterior. Tough to keep up with all that creativity, but Chucky doesn't care. His story has remained comparatively steadfast, but no less compelling. The Lakeshore Strangler managed to transfer his soul into a good guy doll by way of voodoo just before he died. The Strangler's name? Charles Lee Ray. Why? Because of course it is. Never trust someone who goes by 3 names. They could be a killer.
I'm not ashamed to be a killer. I'm proud of it. It's not an addiction. It is a choice. And it is not something that you should have to hide in the closet.
Even the good ones. Keegan-Michael Key murders us all with his delightful comedy, and David Lee Roth slaughters rock arenas around the globe. I don't even trust F. Scott Fitzgerald. He killed Jay Gatsby, right? As for the old sport Chucky, the magic isn't just in his creation, it's in his multiple resurrections. Yeah, he's been brought back to life by electrical malfunctions, stitching, some of his blood falling into a vat used to make more good guy dolls. That's a bad day at the plant. And in the most recent version, AI was the cause of him coming back to life. Don Mancini is the genius behind Child's Play. He wrote 7 of the scripts and directed 3 films in the franchise. And while the origin story of his beloved evil creation gets points for consistency, the greatness of Leprechaun lies in the fact that none of us really know how he got here in the first place. And thus, how the hell do we game plan in case he returns? Both evil entities have proven they'll never really die, but if we're going off of who had the most interesting birth, I have to apologize to everyone in New Orleans, particularly that one woman that worked in a store in the French Quarter that I'm pretty sure cursed me after a comedy show. Voodoo is powerful and I respect it. But what are all the kids trying to take? Me Lucky Charms! Leprechaun wins round 3 and is back in the game.
'Cause you know the Lep is the real OG.
And now it's time for the wild card round, Iconic Moments. This is where the luck of the Irish could come up huge, even for a monster that needs an EpiPen if he's around 4-leaf clovers. Say what you want about lackluster box office or Rotten Tomato meters, both Chucky and the Leprechaun are firmly entrenched in the cultural zeitgeist for a reason. They've given us plenty of highlights over the years.
Hello, Andy.
Going back to the first Child's Play, Chuck has always had a flair for the dramatic. He used a voodoo doll to kill Dr. Death. And as impressive as a start as that is, what I consider to be the most iconic would be how he met his bride-to-be. It's the classic story we were all told as kids. Grandpa dumped a TV into the bathroom to off Grandma. The movie playing on said television at the time? Bride of Frankenstein. It works on so many levels.
Hey, Raggedy Ann, you looked in the mirror lately? Now's not the time to get picky.
Chucky has wreaked havoc on folks with his go-to weapon of choice, a butcher knife.
Were you born with that knife super glued onto your hand or what?
But occasionally, he goes to the bench and calls in, say, an axe in Curse of Chucky, a yardstick in Child's Play 2, or how about Child's Play 3, when he throws the proverbial kitchen sink at this poor fella? Is that a golf club and a yo-yo? Major points for creativity, buddy.
Nothing like a strangulation to get the circulation going.
His counterpart is also a gifted improviser, as the Leprechaun has utilized everything from a pogo stick to a lawnmower blade to make memorable deaths in his movies. A personal favorite is when Leprechaun, in outer space, sneaks his essence into a guy's body via pee, then transfers himself into another person when those two morons decide to do the nasty.
Holy shit! And they call me sick?
Sadly, this is not the first time I've had to remind folks watching this show, do not have sex in space. Why is this so difficult? This should be like day one of NASA school. Thank you, class. See you tomorrow, and we'll talk about how to not pee on a tiny corpse. It's a dead body, not snow.
Let that be a lesson to you, lad.
Besides that flick being my favorite one to bring up at dinner parties, it also features a lightsaber kill. Fitting, because who plays the Leprechaun? Yep, Star Wars veteran Warwick Davis. He borrowed that laser sword from the latest voice of Chucky and never gave it back. But my favorite gruesome kill in any of the Leprechaun films has got to be in the 0% Fresh Part 3, when a poor woman combusts in front of our eyes. Or in Part 2, when a guy gets a pot of gold in his tummy. Or in Back in the Hood, when some poor sap meets his demise at the hands of a bong-wielding leprechaun. Look out, Californians. That could happen to any one of us. Each fella has a wicked, smart sense of humor. Chucky loves a good laugh, and the Leprechaun kicked off his franchise featuring a wheelchair chase scene that rivals the rascal scooter chase from Seinfeld. Both these are horror movies, so what's the truly most terrifying scene from each set? For Chucky, it's when we all find out he ain't running on batteries. It's in the very first film, and when that knowledge meets the fact that he survived a gunshot, look out.
Sometimes I scare myself.
This rampaging Ruxpin is going to be running with the devil long after the Energizer Bunny peters out. For good old Greenie, I'm going to go with more recent offerings. It's a toss-up between Leprechaun Returns when he pops out of poor Ozzy's stomach, or in Origins when he shows the world he may be old, but he still plays video games. Fatality. Chucky is great and has given us a closet full of memories to cherish, but the lengths the Leprechaun has gone for us cannot be denied. The trip from Ireland is worthy of consideration, but then to go to the hood twice and outer space? Again, the Leprechaun went to outer space. And flattened a guy. It's so gnarly. Leprechaun gets the win in the wild card round, and we got us a tied ball game.
On the man of green, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good. Left in the hood, come to do no good.
Yes, it's been a back and forth slugfest that has resulted in a tie. But did you tune in to see a draw? What do you think, Chucky and Leprechaun are just going to shake hands, buddy up, and go live with Annabelle in the next great sitcom? Dull Babies is filmed before a live studio audience. Ubu ain't gonna sit for that, and I know you folks want a winner. So here we go with one final question. Who'd win in a fight? Leprechaun is much older, but that could prove wiser against his younger opponent. Chucky does have just as many movies under his overalls, and although he doesn't have the frequent flyer miles of his elder, he does have voodoo. That could counteract Leprechaun's magic, and if Chucky gets his hands on the gold, it might further reduce Leprechaun's powers. Both fellas tend to have a weakness for the ladies, but it's my estimation that Leprechaun has more holes in his game than Chuck. 4-leaf clover, iron, eating Count Chocula instead of Lucky Charms, Chucky has assets that work against the Leprechaun. And he's got a whole cult and a loving bride that could jump into the fracas. Binging the Leprechaun movies is an Ellis family St. Patrick's Day tradition. But if he ever runs across Chucky, all the grain in the world won't save him from getting pinched. No shame in losing to a doll leprechaun, especially one voiced by Brad Dourif.
You know, I love being me, and I love my job. I'm fucking infamous.
Chucky wins, but that's just according to my book. And I can barely read. Now it's your turn, my lovely viewers. Comment below and vote with your pick. Is it the box office king Chucky or the magical mystery of the Leprechaun? I can't wait to have somebody else read me your take, and I'll leave you with what your senior quote should have been. I'll take it from you, homie, you'll see, because you know the Leprechaun is the real OG.